this really awkward introduction. At some point, we'll just, hit it and make it happen with that there. I saw the little thing flash, so maybe we're up and operating at the moment. I also see that it says that it's waiting on us here today with it. And I think we're on finally with that there. So what we're going to go ahead and do is get ready and say, hi, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to tomorrow. So glad to have you all here today. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I'm your host, Jared Head, for this episode of tomorrow, or episode possibly of tomorrow, which is December 9th, 2022. Getting close to the end of the year there, but we thought it would be really fun today because I'm the only person who's available for the show today. So why not bring on, say, a guest host or someone of, say, the most, and possibly someone that I would even describe as I guess the biggest beard in spaceflight journalism. And yes, folks, ladies and gentlemen, friendbies and MBs, it is our good friend, Jack Bayer. Jack, welcome to tomorrow.
What's up? It's a long-time listener, first-time caller, I guess.
Yes. So glad, so good to have you here with us on the show. And what's so cool is that you're a part of NASA Spaceflight, NSF, as everybody likes to say. And you guys do just like an absolutely amazing job in covering literally everything. If I want to know what's going on, if I want to know what's going on down at the Cape, I know what's going on down at the Cape. I know that you personally provide coverage of like the SpaceX boosters coming back at the port of Long Beach. If somebody sneezes at the launch site in Texas at Starbase, we know about it, and somebody sends you a $20 super chat when it happens too. So it's pretty amazing all the work that you guys do at NASA Spaceflight. And just tell us a little bit about it too, so that way our viewers who may not know, if you don't know about NASA Spaceflight, just know a little bit about you guys.
Yeah, well, obviously it's a massive team of people. It's not just me. I'm just one small molecule in the larger organism. Small cell in the larger organism, or molecule, either or. But yeah, we're a space news organization, and we try and make sure that we have our eyes and cameras, more importantly, on anything cool that's going on in spaceflight. So there's folks out in Florida. We have folks in Texas, like you said. I'm out here on the West Coast along with you, although I will drive hours and hours and hours to any location. I'm like looking at ABL up in Alaska, like, man, should I just drive to Alaska? I don't know. I kind of always wanted to do that.
Excellent. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. Let's do some of the Trans-American Highway while we're at it.
Right?
Enjoy the beautiful west coast of our neighbors to the north, Canada.
I obsessively make Google Maps for trips, and so for the longest time I've had a Google map that's just called the Great Northern Expedition because I'm a nerd. Yeah, and it's like, oh, we could go to all these crazy, super, minuscule areas, and I'd probably get die on an ice road somewhere in northern Canada, but it'd be fun in the process.
I'm really glad to hear I'm not the only person who does nerdy stuff in Google Maps, because I always try to figure out how to make like Formula One racetracks in like my neighborhood or near my jobs and stuff like that. So
hey, that's cool.
I mean, it's a hope that will never happen. And as some people in our chat room are saying, Adam says Jack's beard is Alaska ready.
It is.
It is. It truly, like I said at the start, you're the biggest beard with it there, and we are getting it in the chat room, which is that people are dropping the bacon for you already, Jack.
Wow.
And
My
even
my reputation precedes me.
yeah, it's doing it. And Aravel's got a really good one here, which was kind of what also what Ryan was saying before the show started as well, which is Marvel Infinity War is the most ambitious crossover event in history. Tomorrow, hold my beer.
That's amazing.
So I'd definitely throw tomorrow and NASA Spaceflight on that as well. And also Michael from NASA Spaceflight, glad to have you watching, Michael, wants to know the Land Rover can drive over water?
Depends on how deep it is. It's mostly through water. Which Jared, you've been to Afton Canyon. You know that
Yes.
water crossing right there. That's kind of gnarly. I can do that.
Yeah, nice.
But not oceans. Obviously, I think I'll take a ferry or whatever. I'll get as far as I can get within the Land Rover, and then I'll take a ferry or do whatever else I have to. I'll swim it. Hypothermia, be darned.
Yeah. You don't need hypothermia. You've got a beard. So
There
that's
we
the way
go,
it works. Also, this is, unfortunately, we've checked
It just says no.
for you. It says no. You're not allowed.
Oh,
So, Arvale saying, someone get this man a kayak.
classic.
Nice up there.
Classic.
For it. Also, Dan with a excellent beard as well. Saying
I think
beards for the
Dan's
win.
beard beats my beard. I think Dan wins. And not that beards are a competition, to each their own beard, but
Yeah.
just looking at this profile pic, that is a mighty beard.
It is, definitely. And I'll just throw it back here real quick, just so that everyone can see with that there. So with your beard ready to go. Alex has a really good point here, which I didn't think about, which is the Land Rover can barely drive, let alone drive over water. I don't think that's not very nice, Alex. And then Loopy is saying, wait, do we get to have a Jeep versus Land Rover conversation, Alex? I didn't even realize.
See, a conversation would require like some sort of back and forth,
Yes.
to where everybody just knows that the Land Rover is better. So it's not really it's not a conversation. So
I'm going to step back here. For those of you who are wondering why are we talking about Land Rovers versus Jeeps, you own a
yes,
a
a Land Rover Discovery 2 from 2002, and it drives perfectly fine, Alex. It's just
Yes.
extremely loud right now because my exhaust manifold has a massive leak.
It's great. I've heard that. I heard that there was. Look, I love this. The Land Rover can be heard from 15 miles away, as if Jack installed a trumpet bell on the exhaust. So,
Yes.
Jack, just say it's staged combustion and it's running engine rich.
There we go.
So-
Yeah, I mean it is. That's
Yeah.
that's very accurate.
Yeah, that's the way it works. And yeah, that's you've got your Disco 2, and then I've got my 2015 Jeep Renegade Trailhawk, which is not a Wrangler, but I've most certainly done more off-roading in it than I would say 99% of most Wrangler owners. And I'm very much looking forward to pulling one Cybertruck after another out once they hit the market here in the desert. It's going to be really fun.
Can I like take a number so that when it happens to me, I can just be like, hey, I'm first in line. I have the number.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just kidding. I could never afford a Cybertruck.
Yeah. Neither could I. In addition, I was going to say there's I'm always jealous when I see the Land Rover Defenders.
Yes,
so,
they hurt me.
Yeah.
They especially hurt me because they are also very expensive, and yet
Yes.
every time I see one, there's like a little voice in my brain that's like, "Ooh, that's really nice."
Yeah.
Which at a certain point, you just have to shut those brain cells off or try.
Yeah, I look at the Defender every time, and I remind myself that when I spec out a Defender to what I want, the options are like just as much as my Jeep was when I bought it brand new.
Yeah.
So
we're just going full car chat here.
yeah, sorry everybody. Turns out Tomorrow Cars is underway.
They named the Defender, but then they made a Discovery. Like they weren't making Discoveries for a while, and now they are. And they don't look like the Discovery, but the Defender looks like a Discovery. Okay, I'll stop. We can.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, well, for those of you who would like the rest of the car talk, we're going to stick around for members today. I didn't even ask you, Jack, if you wanted to stick around to talk with our members after this. So consider becoming a member if Jack does stick around. And even if Jack doesn't stick around, you should still become a member and help support us here at Tomorrow. Thomas, wow, like half of NASA's spaceflight in its entirety is here. TG's asking, I'm confused how Jack is going to cover the Orion splashdown if he's not in the kayak yet, which that's a really good point, which is that
motor kayak. It's an alternate type of kayak.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Definitely. And what's one of the amazing things is that we're getting ready for it to come back, right? Like it's just a few more. And actually, I was trying to pull up. Why am I looking down right now? It's because I'm trying to pull up the live view from Orion, because I really want to show everybody just how amazing since it's returning to Earth.
We were looking at this before. Wow. See, space is a lot more colorful than they'd show you in the movies and whatnot.
Yeah, let me show everybody here real quick the live feed coming from Orion. It looks excellent, as it always does. And I got to say, and getting it in HD just really adds to the beauty of what we're looking at with that there. So, yeah, that is amazing. So,
is there 1 kilohertz tone that goes along with it? I've heard space is filled with 1 kilohertz tone.
Possibly, but there, I don't recall if there's any microphones on board or not.
Got it. Okay.
At the moment, I know that there are on on Perseverance. There's several microphones, but I do not recall as to whether there were any on. I think there are actually inside, because I've heard them do the whole thing with the thing, with the voice commands with that there. And Aravail is actually bringing up a really point, which is the be kind. There are no buoys at the moon. That's very true.
Yet.
Yes. Yet. So really, really cool. This Sunday, we are finally getting Orion back. It's coming back to the Earth.
I have. So this is a fun one. We get to play a game that I think you've played similar before, where it's like, do you go to Vandenberg or do you not go to Vandenberg? There is a launch on the 15th. I think it's the 15th, the morning of the 15th. SWAT or SWOT. It's Falcon 9 launch out of Vandenberg. But there is also a media event in San Diego for Orion roll-off of oh god, I forget the name of the boat that it's coming in on, but
the nice boat.
It's like the nice boat, the USS Nice Boat. So it's like, which one do you cover? Do you go to the rocket launch, or do you go to Orion roll-off?
Well, isn't SWAT at like 3? It's at like 03:46. It's some ungodly hour, which is why I'm not going to it.
Well, the best part is Orion roll-off. It's at like between 1 and 4 in the morning, I think.
Why are you doing this?
I don't know. I'm like, do I set remote cameras and then bail on launch to go catch Orion, or do I just say sorry, Orion? I don't know. It's a tough decision.
Yeah, and as Ryan is letting us know, the ship's name is the USS Orion Scooper Upper.
Scooper Upper. Yeah, that's
very
totally
very much like that. Robert's saying we could call Capstone a space buoy.
Yeah,
that's the coolest thing. Yeah, we sure could. We could give it a roll. Also, Ekka's got some advice for you, Jack, which is go to Orion.
So. The follow-up is it's USS Portland.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, I do kind of like covering the thing that not everybody else is covering. I feel like most West Coast space media will be at the launch, and I could do something a little different if I go cover around. Plus, it's just so cool, like a splashdown capsule that's all scorchy and delightful. I mean, who doesn't want to photograph that? I certainly do. The problem is it's as previously mentioned, it's super early in the morning, so I don't know what the lighting situation would be like. I don't know if it'd even be possible to get any kind of decent imagery, but yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to figure out and decide what I want to do there.
Yeah, and I feel like that actually kind of leads into a little bit of a like thing I wanted to ask you about, because lots of people talk to us about what it's like to cover spaceflight and be a part of something like a big group that's covering spaceflight. And us at TMRO, we're rather small buckets compared to the size of what you guys at NASA Spaceflight bring in. Which I mean, like. I think one of the coolest things about spaceflight and the coverage of it in spaceflight media is that there's honestly no real rivalries between everybody. We all really do get along, and we all like support each other and check in with each other and things like that. It's just really neat because like you don't see that in other forms of media. There's always like competition, to beat all these things with that. So what's it like? What is it like? Because we can talk to that ourselves, but you at NASA Spaceflight, y'all have a much bigger, broader audience. You're doing a lot. What's it like to kind of work within the realm of spaceflight media?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I can only really speak for myself and like how I work with NASA Spaceflight. I don't really speak for like the organization as a whole or anything. But, well, first off, yeah, like you said, it is kind of like everybody's friends with everybody. At least you try to be. There's probably exceptions here and there, but we try to be friendly with everybody. I try to be friendly with everybody I see out. If you're working hard enough and out there and trying to shoot imagery and get people excited about space, like. We're friends. Like that's just how that goes. And to that point, for Artemis 1 and for other launches I've been to as well out here on the West Coast and just everywhere in general, people are very like, like when you're setting up remotes, if you're like, oh darn, I forgot a zip tie, someone will hear you that you say that out loud and say, hey, I've got like 60 zip ties. Here you go. Like, also thank you, Thomas, for the zip ties at Artemis 1. But the same sort of thing happened out here on the West Coast. I forget what launch it was. It might have been Firefly Flight 2, where there's this guy Jason who's kind of like relatively new. He's doing like some audio stuff, and afterward he and I grabbed a bite after remote setup. He and I grabbed a bite, and he was like kind of like, man, you guys are all kind of just like help each other out, and it's so cool. It's basically the same sentiment you expressed, and yeah, it's cool that you can be friendly with people who some people might be like, well, aren't they your competitor? And it's like, it doesn't really work like that. We're all just trying to get people excited about space.
Yeah.
But in terms of what it's like, how do I adequately describe this? It is addictive to cover spaceflight. It is incredibly fun. It can also be incredibly heartbreaking. It's sort of like a roller coaster ride, at least in terms of covering live events like launches and what have you. You're constantly trying to get an interesting shot or a unique image or just something that you're proud of, or an image that you've had in your head that you were trying to execute. And when you succeed, it's the best darn feeling. It's the best feeling. And when you fail, boy, is that a gut punch. Like for example, basically all of my cameras, for one reason or another, at Artemis 1 just completely failed. Like a lot of them shot things but didn't shoot the right things due to the vagaries of when sound reached the camera and activated the trigger, or because there was an insane rainstorm and we set up 3 days before launch and I didn't adequately dry out my lenses or swap lenses. Just all kinds of things conspired against me on Artemis 1, and that hurts. It's a historic moment in spaceflight that I don't have really any like super cool imagery of that I made myself, other than the stuff I shot from the press site, which even that is like pretty limited. So it can be hard. You can, especially when you hold yourself to a high standard, and like everybody that I work with at NSF is so great that you don't want to disappoint them, and you don't want to disappoint yourself. And this likewise, everybody else in spaceflight news media, like there's some real heavy hitters who are absolutely phenomenal creators, and it's a high bar. And so when you feel like you can hang, it feels great, and when you feel like you failed, it feels terrible. But ultimately it's so fun. Like I hopefully don't sound like I'm complaining too much, because I feel incredibly lucky that I get to do what I do. and I'd like to keep doing it for as long as I possibly can. So when someone does sneeze down in Texas at the launch site, and someone else does super chat us $20, and a minuscule amount of that goes into my pocket, I am extremely, extremely thankful, because holy cow, like I get to do this. A lot of people would love to do this.
Yeah, definitely. And to kind of talk about the appreciation of people, just want to say thank you, Reese Jones, for becoming a member during our stream today, which means you get to watch that behind us there. And to kind of talk about, you're talking about working with different media and the amazing people that are around you. Robert is kind of asking, like, with your own experience, is there a difference or like a gap with NASA spaceflight and traditional media? Or is it, like you say, everyone's trying to be friendly with it there?
With my own experience, is there a difference or a gap still with like NSF and traditional media, or
Yeah, so just kind of like asking, is there still sort of these ivory towers between us in non-traditional sort of content creation, the content creation world on the web, as opposed to traditional media, like you would see with, say, like the.
I mean, we definitely
big
get treated
companies.
we get treated differently than traditional media, I think, in some way, and sometimes that's not necessarily justified, put it that way. Like, but that's just, you play the cards you're given, and hopefully as time goes on, things th- there will be no considered gap on the part of accrediting organizations in terms of what NASA spaceflight is versus, say, like CNN or NBC, or whatever other news media outlet. It's just the way it goes. Like, again, at Artemis 1, for example, wire services like AP and Reuters and whatnot, those photographers got to put equipment in different places than like basically everybody else. So there are if I'm answering the right question, like, there are differences. Like, we do get treated sort of differently.
Yeah, and it's still being worked on with things. I definitely know the access is not like what it was, say, like a decade ago when Tomorrow's former self, Space Vidcast, was covering shuttles, and like Space Vidcast was really the only online group actually covering shuttle, live, at least at that time, with it. Yeah, and of course, also want to say thank you to Dan, who just became a member. 2 epic beards on this show right now. Oh man, I wish I could highlight the icon and you, Jack, to throw, so that way we can have 2 amazing beards.
Good gang.
With that. So, yeah, and actually get to go to with Dolphin here, which is that I will say that personally, dealing with Spaceport Cornwall, I feel like I'm being treated the same as the mainstream media, which was surprising and lovely.
Yeah, that's great. And to be clear, we get a lot of opportunities, and often it's the same opportunities as other organizations. But it's every launch is different, every situation is different, and every now and then you encounter a situation where it's like, what, do they understand? Not to sound too hoity-toity, but like, do they understand like the amount of reach organizations like NASA Spaceflight and others have? Like, it can be frustrating sometimes,
Yeah.
but other times it can be, it's great. The access that we get from certain companies in certain situations. It's like Firefly, for example, was outstanding with their remote setup for Flight 2. That was just like otherworldly. It's like, you're telling me I can put a camera essentially anywhere I want. Like, thank you. Like, I will do my best to provide awesome imagery of your launch, because I can put my cameras basically anywhere I want. Not that I'm going to try less hard on another launch, but you know what I mean. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, when you get that access, you definitely want to end up giving something a little extra, as a acknowledgement of the fact that you have someone who's willing to actually kind of do things with you with that. And I got to say, the shots that we got from Firefly from you were just absolutely astounding. And I also want to talk about a shot that is specifically behind you on that calendar there, because someone in our chat room was asking to make you talk about that. So, Jack, what is that behind you there?
Yeah, so this is like what we were talking about a second ago, that sometimes it feels like really, really good, and sometimes it feels really, really bad, depending on if you succeed or fail. That is a shot of a Falcon 9 transiting the sun It's a Starlink launch out of Vandenberg. It, I knew based on the time of the launch that there was a high likelihood that shooting a transit would be possible. I was in LA. I was in the middle of an edit for NASA Spaceflight, one of our flyover videos, and it's a 3-hour drive to get to Vandenberg from LA. So the question was, do I want to gamble and drive 3 hours one way for a like 30-second photo opportunity, and then have to drive 3 hours back to LA, and then essentially stay up all night to edit a video to get out in the morning because I just spent 6 hours of my edit day driving back and forth from Vandenberg.
Yeah, and that's when are you sure you're not including traffic in that for out to Vandenberg? Because both you and I have the problem that we live in Los Angeles, which means
Yes.
that we have to go across this mass of where people live. Therefore, we end up we go through these bottlenecks up and back with it. And then there's other ones on the way too, like Santa Barbara and Ventura and other places like that. So
the one that gets me now is that there's a whole bunch of construction areas on the 101 North.
Yep.
To where you're cruising along, you feel like you're the king of the road. You left at just the right time to thread the needle in between the traffic flows and all the crazy stuff we have to do here in LA. And then you hit a thing where it's like 55 miles an hour, 3 lanes go down to 1 lane, and then everyone is like suddenly has forgotten that they know how to drive. And it's just like, we're going to go 35 miles an hour for 6 miles, and good luck if you were trying to keep the schedule. Like, you have to work that in now. But
my favorite part of it is when the CHP, the California Highway Patrol, is on the road and they're doing the speed traps, because man, they are really good at sitting in the right spots to do that. So
they are.
Yowza.
That's like when I first moved to LA, one of my cousins was like, just don't speed on the 101.
Yeah.
Like, okay, check. But yeah, so obviously I chose to drive to Vandenberg and attempt the shot. And of course, it wasn't fog. Okay. It was low-lying clouds, different thing. Clouds were coming in off the ocean. And so there was a small cloud layer in my original shooting location. So I had to, like, at the last second, figure out a different location. And, I was using flightclub.io to plan this out. And it's a good guide for long exposure photography and for other stuff, but it's by no means like, nor is it claimed to be like 100% accurate. But I figured, Starlink launches are pretty routine and uniform, and there should be a lot of data on a Starlink launch. So I basically found multiple spots that flightclub.io would tell me where the Falcon 9 would pass in front of the sun. And I kind of, again, Google Maps. Hey, everything's coming back together. Callbacks. I used Google Maps to draw a line in between all of those spots. And then I figured out a part of that line that I could actually access legally. And to put it delicately, and yeah, that's where I set up, and sure enough, the rocket flew straight in front of the sun, and I got the shot, and it felt so good because it's exactly the shot that I wanted to get. Well, it's close to exactly the shot I wanted to get. I could do better next time, but
I haven't shot up. By the way,
a little,
Jack.
okay. No, really, it's a little blurry. And the other thing is if you've seen these type of shots from other photographers, because I'm by no means the first to do it, if you see these shots, one of the things you notice is not in mine is there are no sound waves disrupting the edge of the sun. In other photographer shots, you can sort of see, like when the rocket goes in front of the moon or when the rocket goes in front of the sun, there are these like jaggies that appear on the edge of the sun, and that is from the sound waves distorting the air. All of those, basically all I can figure out is I was close enough. I was close to Ocean Ave, so I was about 3 to 4 miles away from the launch site, which I think is closer than a lot of other shots like this have been shot. You'll notice the rocket in other transit shots is much smaller, typically. So I think because I was so close, the rocket passed in front of the sun, and then the next frame, which I haven't posted online, but the next frame, all the jaggies show up. So I don't know. I would probably shoot the next one from a little bit further distance. I would probably shoot it with a higher shutter speed, and there's some haloing that I was able to take out in the edit because I didn't have my solar filter on just right. So all that is to say, thank you. Yes, I'm very proud of the shot. I'm very happy with it. Can always do better. Nothing is so perfect that it cannot be improved upon. So next time I get the opportunity, I will do even better. But that said, that is what that image is. So happy that it worked. I'm so happy that the flyover video got edited and put out on time, and I didn't die somewhere on the 101 due to lack of sleep. And yeah, it worked out. And that's the kind of thing you're chasing when you do this sort of thing. You want an image that's like, first off, unique, and second off, something that gets people excited about spaceflight, because I feel like for so much of my life, probably so much of yours too, a lot of people didn't even, pay much attention to spaceflight, much less care, like, at all.
Yeah, no.
And that's slowly changing a little bit. And the more that changes, the better, because the more people that care about going to space, the more people ultimately will be able to go to space. And I think I would go to space. Would you go to space?
Absolutely. Yeah. Strap me onto the rocket and let's go right now.
Let's go.
I'm totally ready.
What is the part in Kerbal Space Program? It's like the external command seat. Let's do this.
And people are like, where would you want to go? And I'm just like, space. Just like, let's do it. Like, I don't even care if the orbit is like 100 by 100 miles. Like, let's just make it happen.
Yep.
Let's just do it. For me, at least, going half of my excitement of going to space is the ride. I just want to ride on a rocket. It just feels like a lot of fun. I know when I going up to San Francisco and back, everything on a plane, I just cannot get enough of the experience, and it's just so magical. And I can only imagine a rocket is like 10,000, 100,000 times that experience. Which it's interesting that you would mention, would you want to go to space? Because there's someone that we both know who is going to end up. It would appear going to be going to space, and that's because this week the Dear Moon Project announced their crew, and one of those people is someone that you and I both know, and that is Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, and we are very, very excited for him to be going to space. Like I said on Twitter and Mastodon the other day, which is that whatever the strongest word is for like completely and totally deserves this beyond a reasonable doubt. Like, that is how I feel about Tim getting the nod for that. And man, it's just going to be amazing to see that.
Yeah. Tim is an outstanding human being. He's a great person, and he works super hard at what he does. So it's really great to see that rewarded with a seat on the crew for Dear Moon. I'm so super happy for him, and cannot wait to see the cool videos that he makes in space. Now, when that will happen,
that's the question. Yeah, that's the $1 billion question.
But I frankly, if I was him, I wouldn't care when it happened. No. It's if you told me right now, hey Jack, you're gonna get to go to the moon. It's gonna be in 10 years, but you're gonna get to go to the moon. I would say okay, and I would start one of those stupid app things on my phone to count down every single day until I would like dedicate an iPad on my wall to just have that app open only. And every morning I would wake up and lovingly tick over the next day. Because holy cow, that's amazing.
Like an abacus or something.
Yeah. So whenever Starship is ready to support Dear Moon, and whenever that's all going to happen, it's going to be amazing. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be, honestly, I was at, I know in Tim's like video that he put out announcing this, he mentioned that he was at the event, and the mission statement, as it were, like kind of brought a tear to his eye. And as someone who was also there, I 100%, I think that was like back in 2018. I also, it resonated with me significantly. The idea behind Dear Moon, which is essentially, we've always sent test pilots and scientists. Can we send some artists, please, and get some content that they would make? Because again, it's all about getting people excited about spaceflight. So what better way than to send some people who are amazing at making, music or painting or, videos or whatever it is, photos. And see what they can make and see what sort of influence on culture they can have, because the influence on culture from, say, like the Apollo moon astronauts was significant. And not to thumb my nose at anyone, but like, they're test pilots and like one scientist, right? Like,
Yeah,
test
very.
pilot. I love me some test pilots. I think test flight is one of the coolest things you could possibly do as a profession. But if there's a difference, I'm just sorry. There's a difference between someone that you've trained to use a camera versus someone who is just good at using a camera and is an artist, which I don't even think I necessarily fall into that bracket. I just like taking photos of things. So I'm not trying to say like, man, you can't take my camera, I should go, not you. Like, no, I just mean, there's something to be said for sending someone who is like naturally gifted at playing the drums versus someone who has learned to play drums, and is good at it, but not necessarily naturally gifted, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, it's the interpretation of the experience and the ability to convey that experience back. Test pilots are going to be really good at giving you concrete details and numbers and things like that. But a geologist like Harrison Schmitt was is different. So he was excellent at figuring out what samples needed to be gathered and other things like that. Not necessarily knocking the other astronauts for their ability to either yes or no in terms of gathering samples. They did exactly what they needed to do in terms of the samples that were gathered. It's just that Harrison Schmitt had that edge because he was just natural. It came naturally to him. He didn't have to really be taught, so to speak. He didn't need a crash course in 2 to 3 years of how to do it. Yeah, I'm just like super excited for that. And actually, Scott had a really funny kind of joke in that, which is, does that mean that he'll become Tim Dodd, just another astronaut? With that there. But I, at least personally, don't think so. I still think that he should absolutely be considered the everyday astronaut, because Tim is a everyday person. Tim, and by the way, this is not a slight when I say that Tim is not a professionally trained astronaut, because I'm not a professionally trained astronaut. You're not a professionally trained astronaut either, Jack. So if we were shoved on board of a starship, I think we would have just as much a level of training as Tim is going to be getting through that there. But oh no, the chat room is starting to really unload on it now. Tim Dodd, the everyday space tourist from Apollo there.
Do we want to go down that rabbit hole? Are people that go into space commercially tourists, or they're astronauts? I mean, come on, it's like, I don't know. They're astronauts to me.
Loopy went that way, which was Tim Dodd, the everyday spaceflight participant.
I don't know. All right, that's fair. If you're on like a Blue Origin flight or a Virgin Galactic flight, maybe spaceflight participant or like suborbital hop participant.
Yeah.
But I don't know, if you're orbiting something, I think you get to qualify as an astronaut.
Alex here has the right idea, because I got really mad like 2 years ago when someone was having a discussion like this, and I had that and they all told him to shut up, and I was like, no, you're self-loading payload. You're all self-loading payload. No one is an astronaut. It's all self-loading payload. So Thomas here, I like that one. Tim Dodd, the 12-day astronaut.
Nice.
So is that how long the Dear Moon mission is supposed to be? That'd be a very far free return trajectory there.
I mean, Thomas is usually right about everything. Also, wow, can we get more NSF people in here?
Yeah, come on. Hi, NSF people. How you doing? Good to see you. Andrew here, very much saying Tim Dodd proves that if you just buy a spacesuit and look the part, you can get in anywhere.
As much as cliche it is as it is, and as much as I hate the phrase, I mean, fake it till you make it is so real. It's so incredibly real. Like, if you're there's a street artist who I follow, and he always says, like, hey, if you want to do street art and you're nervous about it, just put on an orange jacket and just look like you're supposed to be there. Put up a cone or two, And people will just assume that you're doing something that you should be doing because you look official and are acting that way. That's such a thing, and it's such 100% a thing.
Yeah, it's like what they always say, and something that I have that I constantly carry in the back of my Jeep, which is a clipboard and a high vis vest. And
you'd be surprised where you can get if you just have a yellow flasher on your car,
people,
which is totally legal.
I'm not going to say how I know this, but man, people will just get out of your way when you've got those things on you there. So dress for the job you want, not the job you have, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Do you watch Better Call Saul?
I think I know what you're about to talk about. Yes.
You know the episode where Mike goes around the warehouse?
Yeah. You need to put on a weight belt.
You're basically Mike, is what I'm getting at here, which is both amusing and terrifying. It's like I should never cross Jared. I never cross Jared ever.
It's fine.
He'll get you.
No, I'm such a wimp at things like that. In front of other people, but privately. Anyways, Ian here saying that we like to support Jack whenever possible. Of course,
classic Ian.
With that, and then also Scott. I don't know what this is in reference to, but I could throw that up as well. Jared the tradesman. So I'm not sure how that with it. Also, Loopy here, I've heard stories of people who in years long past got into Cape press car convoys by mistake, sandwich without realizing find themselves paraded onto base.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's great. I absolutely love it. And then great advice from Loopy here, which is all you got to do is turn your flashers on in the convoys. So like you were saying, turn your flashers on. I might have used my flashers several times, or my hazards several times in order to get to places that I in short order with that there. But yeah, Robert says that I know Tim doesn't wear the suit, but he has to at least take it to the moon with him. And I would wholeheartedly agree. I really, really do hope that they allow him to take the suit with him so that he can wear it, because that would complete the circle. Because that's what started off his whole thing, is that he was just taking these jokes. He got the flight suit as a joke, right? And took photos.
I do,
with it.
As poetic and cool as it would be if he could take the suit. I do sort of feel like for his sake, I hope they don't let him, because I know he said like on various videos and whatnot that it was like kind of a pain to wear, and it was like sweaty and hard to put on and all of that.
Yeah.
So if they say no, then I'm sure he'll be like, oh darn,
oh shucks.
Yeah, right. Besides, if he gets to wear some sort of flight suit for like an actual. Yeah, it's possible.
Which I just would like to say that we have had Tim on the show. And when we had him on back in 2016, in the very, very early days of Tim, he did put on the flight suit here in the studio. And donning it was pretty easy. Doffing it, though, that required some time and some assistance. From a large number of people that were present at the studio. But also, I feel like whenever we get Tim back on the show, which, by the way, trying to work on that, we've got a lot of stories that we hopefully can tell you all about Tim and some of the other stuff with it. And then Justin Hernandez saying that it almost killed him once. Yeah, it did. Which, that's another thing. You got to remember how to wear things correct with that. However, I do want to say this here, which is that we have a question, Jack, if you're willing to answer this, from Alex.
Oh, God.
Here, which is, ask Jack about almost being stranded at LC-39B. What was going on? Is this SLS?
This is SLS.
Okay. How were you almost stranded with it?
At one of the remote setups inside the fence. So only a limited number of people, initially at least at the first launch attempt, could set up inside the fence. So at one of the remotes says, "You're just dying over here."
Yes, because I'm thinking of somebody getting left behind at the launch pad, and they're just counting down 30 seconds. Go out. Let's go, Sotar. Go NROL 69. Nice. And like somebody's just, like hauling away from the launch pad as it's happening.
I'm like wrapping
with
myself in the various trash bags that Space Media has used to cover their cameras.
And you're
I'm
like
this will help.
stacking tripods in front of you to prevent the acoustical waves from liquefying you.
Yes.
With it there, I just imagine like you're like it's what's that movie with Harrison Ford? I don't know. But he's just running on the poster. It's exactly what I'm seeing with it there.
The Fugitive?
So, yes, The Fugitive. That's exactly what I'm seeing. So Tommy Lee Jones just running after you. Rocket Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, orange Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, getting ready to go. So
basically it was at remote setup. We set up cameras inside the fence. The public affairs officer on the bus apparently was like, "Is anyone missing?" And of course, it's like shout if you're not here. I think that's what happened anyways. Either way,
oh my gosh.
I am shooting a video of SLS as I walk back to the bus, and I'm the last person, and I just see the doors on the bus close and it starts to pull away from me. and so there is video of this, of me going, "Oh God, don't leave me behind." And like running frantically after the bus. And after a couple seconds, I guess the bus driver saw me in the rear view, but it felt a lot longer than 5 seconds. It felt like my entire life flashed before my eyes, because obviously they would have discovered I was there and I would have been able to get, I wouldn't have been able to get back either way. It's not like I would have actually gotten left out for launch, but you don't want to be. Yes, there is video. If you're a member of NSF, the video exists. Against my better judgment, I uploaded it. But yes, that is a thing that happened. But I would have been fine. But the thing is sort of like we were talking about earlier with the Space Media all being like friends with each other and stuff. You don't want to be the guy that gets left, and then everyone knows is the guy that gets. I mean, Michael Baylor still gives me crap about not having my ID at Vandenberg one time. Which, guess what? The ID was in my back pocket the whole time, but I got up to the gate and I looked for my ID. It wasn't in my wallet, wasn't in my center console. It just, you panic. And to this day, I haven't lived that down. So definitely didn't want to be the guy that got left behind at 39B, not for safety purposes, but for reputation purposes, I suppose.
Yeah, you were quite literally the original red team for the SLS on that. So
almost
that's pretty good. Almost. Thomas is also saying, I love how the video shows you changing from casual, no, don't leave, to true panic. With that there, and actually earlier in our show, we did get. Oh
God, I think they're finding the video for you if you want.
Oh, are they hunting for it?
Yeah, they're hunting for it.
Oh boy. Oh, actually, I was going to say, it looks like in our channel here on Discord, somebody has thrown. Oh yeah. So, just to kind of show y'all, we have had Tim on the show a lot, with that. And this is a really great episode that we did quite a few years ago, as you can see. I believe that one was back in 2018, which was just at the announcement of this. And you can see the title of that episode there, which is Why Send Artists to the Moon on what at that time was called Big Falcon Rocket, which we now know is Starship Super Heavy. But there's Tim right there. We've also got Lisa, who's an artist in their own right, and I think that's Nicole Mann over on the left, I want to say, of the screen right there. I'm trying to remember who that is on the right. I can't exactly remember. I do know I still follow her on Twitter. And then all the way on the far right is Vax of Vax Headroom of YouTube, TMRO YouTube fame. There, Nicole Stott. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. You get a lot of names, you get them mixed up. So,
classic Thomas always has to be right.
Yep, got it. Yep. Oh, don't worry, everybody. Yeah, don't worry. Vax will be here just before the show ends. Yes, and we'll see you. Greetings, programs. There and from him. So we'll have to get that. And yeah, boy, everybody is dragging me over the coals for getting Nicole Stott wrong. So. You get laughed at for nearly getting left behind, causing a scrub of a multi-billion-dollar rocket. I get laughed at for mispronouncing things incorrectly.
Such is life.
So, everybody's like, it's in the description, Jared, you imbecile. Anyways, so yeah, everybody. The names are in the description. I don't know if you guys know that. I can't show you this. I will take a photo of it and then post it onto Twitter or Mastodon at spacey.space if you'd like to join our instance that we're in. Or is it the Fed? I forget what it's called. Just go to spacey.space and have fun. I will show you what I can see, because what I can see is big screens, and they are like 10 feet away from me. So the size of the font that I see that was written there is about 1/128th of what? You figure it out. So so I can't see it. Anyways, yeah,
Everyone was still going to hold you responsible because that's how the internet works.
That's fine. I can take responsibility because I'm not of the internet. Anyways, there goes half of the viewers, as usual. But yeah, it is such a cool thing that, like, here we are, with, I don't want to necessarily say like regular everyday people going, but it really is. Finally, we're really starting to enter into an era where people who are not trained as professional career astronauts are starting to become a part of the game of getting humanity off of this, getting us off of this planet. And oh my gosh, that's so cool.
So. It's exciting. It's exciting, and it can't happen soon enough because I'm just a squishy meat bag that it's not going to live forever.
Yes.
And so I want to see the cool things, please. Can we have the things? I want the things. Give me the things.
Like, I love the space shuttle, which was great. It did one of the things it was supposed to do.
Most of the time.
Build a space. It was sold on rapid reusability. And it was going to be cheap.
Didn't do that.
It was going to be easy operations.
Didn't do that.
And it was going to be the backbone of building a space station.
It did do that.
So it did one of the things it was supposed to do. It did all of the other three terribly. And I will always.
It probably did some secret stuff for the Air Force pretty well.
I will always.
They're listening.
I will always say that Shuttle fell on its face to allow Falcon to run. We learned with Shuttle exactly how not to do that. Rapid, quick, cheap reusability, and it's really important. It's just as, I don't know if you guys know this, but in science and engineering, it's just as important to know how not to do things as it is to do things correctly. We just usually hope it's not the actual entirety of the program that ends up doing it. But still, nothing will ever look as nice as a space shuttle. I'm just going to throw that out there. Shuttle simultaneously amazing and beautiful, and also terrible and horrible. It is the most complex machine that we have ever strapped, or that humans have ever willingly strapped themselves to, and there will never be another vehicle as complex as that. And you can cash that one and take it to the bank.
Also, Shuttle better than Buran. Don't at me.
What?
Yeah. Shuttle better than Buran, buddy.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Have we had this discussion before?
We have, but we can have it again if you want, or we can just cruise right along.
I think we could do it in the members stream, so that way, if you become a member of TMRO, you can see me and Jack maybe talk a little bit about that after. Because I have mad respect for Shuttle, and I have mad respect for Buran as well with it there. But there's just some things I think with Buran are just a little bit better than Shuttle. So we'll touch that in just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm saving it for the after show.
Me too. Same with Jeep versus Land Rover and all the other things. So what are some of the other fun things?
Yeah, which means it's cursed.
Oh my god.
It's equally cursed.
No, it is not. It is not a pencil rocket. So it is not the stick. It's not a stick to this. Yeah, you want to see my Aries 1 impression?
Nice.
So that'll be a GIF.
Accurate. It's very
GIF
accurate.
by the end of the show.
Wait. GIF or GIF? That's another one. We're gonna have to. We have to. This is my first time here, so we have to put all the pieces on the field.
Oh my God, Jack! Why must you be such a demanding guest?
It's GIF. It's GIF.
Okay, whatever.
RG.
Okay, sure. Wow, even the chat room is now attacked. Everyone is going at me now in the chat room. Look at this. See, Eric is like, what? GIF? And then chat room, stop. Everyone's so mad at me. I can't catch the comments that are coming. And this is really important because I'm actually doing this live. Okay, forget it. I can't. Everybody's very mad at me now. Just not doing. Oh my God. No, I'm not pushing loopies.
I thought that's what you were laughing at.
Yes, I'm not pushing it.
Don't do
at
it.
all.
Don't do it. Bonk.
And then Alex is telling us this is the equivalent of what we ask in our streams where everyone is watching from. And then I'm being very, thank you, Josiah, very politely correcting me. Gaif, not Jaif.
Yeah, no, it's Gaif. Everyone knows it's Gaif.
All right, cool. So Gaif it is from here on out. There will be a Gaif of me vibrating by the end of the show at some point. So excellent, super good. It's just like how people got really, I don't know who, there was a stink on one of our videos about me saying Gemini is Gemini because if you go back and you listen to when they were doing documentaries about it during the time it was flown, Gemini was called Gemini. So I think if you're going to call something what it is, you should call it what the people at that time are calling it. Therefore, Gemini could be Gemini, and people were perturbed by that, and that's fine. And if you want to, if you don't like it, go make a Gaif.
I'll just go on record and say yes, Gemini.
Yes, Gemini. Thank you so much. My favorite. Whoop. So there you go. That's Oh, there you go. You could make a Gaif of that one too. Okay. So now I've got the chat room agreeing with me. See, every once in a while I get the chat room to agree with me. There is so much we're going to have to talk about in our members stream, which is going to be coming up in just a little bit, because I do want to touch a little bit, which is that the whole Dear Moon thing says that they're going to fly in 2023, and you and I were kind of touching on this a little bit before the show, and what did we think was the chances of that happening?
Of Dear Moon in 2023?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, 0. So yeah, as many people are saying here, which is lol 2023. So, or is it lol or lol? Yeah, I don't know. Figure it out.
I think technically it's LOL, but I've long.
I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm done with the show.
All right. I broke him. I think I broke him. All right. So today on Cooking Bacon with Jack, the first thing you're going to want to do is get your bacon laid out on a cookie sheet so that it's a single layer. What I like to do is I use a couple of layers of. Oh, hey, you're back.
Yeah. How's it going?
Cool. What's up?
All right. This is a spicy show. I gotta say, Jack, we should have you on more often.
I bring nothing except for chaos. That's all I bring.
This is great. I'm absolutely adoring all of this. Oh my God, everybody, this chat room. I can't. Y'all today are very, very funny. Yeah. When do we think Dear Moon's actually gonna fly though?
Well, you put a poll in chat. What are the results of the poll?
Is it? Is there a poll in there? I don't see it. With it there. Also, thank you, Andrew, becoming a member.
Wait, maybe it already ended.
There. Thank you, Andrew. I did not see the poll. But of course, Alex with the win. There is our poll. Win Dear Moon. With that there. So most people.
I'm gonna agree with the largest number of votes, 2025 to 2030, somewhere in there.
Yeah. 6 months out, very
3%.
very nice. I like that. So nice, Jack. That's an inside joke that we have here, which is
It's like when Falcon Heavy was always 6 months out.
Yes.
Starship is always 6 months
or
out.
Virgin
kind of deal.
Galactic was always 6 months out. They were 6 months out for a decade.
I think they're still 6 months out. Yeah.
Definitely with that. So yeah, so most of you were saying it was 2025 to 2023 encuesta completada 64 votos. So hopefully, I just probably said that about as blanco as you can with that there. And I know Alex is probably just sitting there going, oh, sorry, Alex. With that. So, see, I told you this was going to happen. This is just what happens on our show, Jack. So
I'm just glad it's not of me doing anything. So thanks for taking that bullet.
yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, that's just how it goes.
That exists. That exists now. You did it.
Yeah.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah, and Future Martian 97, thank you so much for becoming a member on this here with us. Yeah, thank you for the GIFs. Definitely appreciate it. With that there. Alex said that my Spanish was okay. Thank you.
Wow. High praise.
Yeah, if anybody's going to know. Yeah, we can figure out how to make that a sticker for our Discord, I guess. I don't know. Is it stickers? Whatever.
Probably.
It goes on.
Yeah, Dear Moon, I'm definitely excited for it to happen. I really want to know more. Like are they, I mean, maybe some of this stuff is known and I'm like have my head under a rock and I have missed it, but like are they planning on launching on Starship? Because that kind of informs the dates that it's going to happen on.
That's my understanding.
Like, do they launch on Starship? Do they land on Starship? Or do they do something where they, launch on a Dragon and dock? That seems like way more chill to me, but also way more expensive, because how many Dragons would that even? That would take like 3 Dragons or something. Can SpaceX even field 3 Dragons back to back to back like that? Like, questions. There's questions.
Why not launch all 3 at the same time?
Salvo, baby. Yeah.
Do it.
Build a crew access arm and tower at 40, and then build one out here at Vandenberg for the heck of it, and then overfly Mexico because why not? And then then bingo bango, 3 Dragons.
Yeah.
And,
sounds fine. I mean,
yeah. Sounds easy.
When we had Bruce Willis go blow up the asteroid, we launched 2 experimental space shuttles, X-71s, right next to each other. So
right.
I don't see what the big deal is.
That went totally fine. Nobody died. The Earth lived. Aerosmith played. Like it was everything was good.
Played. Well, they've already got Steve Aoki, who's going to be going on the trip, so
Perfect.
Music's not needed. It's already covered. I guess it's like a cruise, like the entertainment package is already covered,
right?
With it there, and oh my gosh, I was just
Tim does music too, so like are Steve and Tim gonna have to do rock paper scissors to see who gets to play like what on launch? Like, no, that can't be our launch soundtrack. I'm gonna play this. It's like they're fighting over the radio in a car on a road trip.
No, I'm pretty sure they'll be chill. They should both make a song in space.
Yes.
And then they should also do a remix of each other's song.
Like a mashup of the 2 or whatever.
Sure.
Yes.
Whatever works.
Yes.
Like Dark Side of the Moon
board.
mashup or something. I don't know.
100% on board.
Yeah, I will absolutely. I'm here for it.
Wait. How about a Dark Side of the Rainbow mashup so you can sync it up with the Wizard of Oz?
Wow. Just let me step back here real quick.
You've done that, right? Please tell me you've done that.
Yes. And also
Okay.
their one with 2001: A Space Odyssey, where I've watched that as well.
Nice.
With oh my gosh, what song is it? Why can't I?
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one. What album goes well
with
with
chat
2001?
room will say it because the chat room is very good at stuff. With it here. So chat room, if you can please remember which Pink Floyd song is the one that lines up with the Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite. Thomas is apparently saying throwback to Iridium launch playlists.
Iridium was the best customer. Oh man,
Really?
we got those 8 Iridium. Yeah, I say they're the best customer as someone who was not involved in whatsoever, except that I pointed cameras at some of their launches. But no, for real, they were very nice to Space Media. And they gave us cool swag, and like would have like hot coffee on cold nights at the press site and stuff like that. Like, I was sad. I was sad when Iridium 8 happened. Also because at the time there was kind of a long gap in between launches from Vandenberg. Once those 8 launches were done, it was almost like it was like, hello, can we launch some stuff again? And thankfully with Starlink and everything now, that's not really a thing, but there was quite a lull there for a while.
Yeah, and actually, TG's just saying that you do get one more SpaceX Iridium launch.
Very happy for that.
So we'll have to see. And Anush is asking, hot coffee?
Yep.
And then Eric, but was it good coffee?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, really good stuff. Oh, Colton got it, which is exactly what it was, which is Pink Floyd's Echoes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have done that. That sounds familiar.
So yes, that was great. The launch pad here. Hot coffee at the press site. Artemis didn't even have cold coffee. Ouch. And then Scott making a very good point, which is that any hot coffee is good on cold nights, and doesn't often reach freezing down at up at Vandy, but boys, it get cold
plus wind plus high humidity or like actual air filled with moisture, aka fog. It can just sap the heat right out of you.
Yeah, the final Atlas, I was at that launch, and oh man, it was cold.
I brought a thing of hot cocoa to that launch, and I think it was Michael Baylor. Somebody was like, "Oh, what, you drinking coffee? It's not that late." And I was like, "No, hot cocoa." And they were like, "Oh man!" I was like, "Yes, I have succeeded. I did the smart thing. I prepared. This is a rare win for me."
Or what you got to do is you got to make hot cocoa and then just put a reasonable amount of coffee in it so that it doesn't ruin the cocoa flavor. So that way you've got a little
like a dirty hot chocolate.
Exactly. Like you get that kick, but it's not like it's not overwhelming with it there. So
yeah, I'm on board.
That's kind of how I go with it. So we are at just a little bit past the top of the hour here. So that does mean that we're going to be slowing things down a little bit and heading over to our members stream in just a second. But of course, before we officially do that, we are going to thank some of our members of tomorrow. All of them just popped up all at once with that. Oh, great. That was a beautiful transition with that there. That was
the high frequency data burst.
Yeah, well, it had to it had to kick in, if you will, for it to actually work. So yes, thank y'all so much. Neurostream, our tomorrow Model 33 Plaid Pro Plus member. Thank you, Neurostream. We appreciate I have words coming out of my mouth. We appreciate it so much. I'm so appreciative, Neurostream, that I couldn't speak. So there you go. We also have our Escape Velocity members as well. These folks have access to the Escape Velocity channel in our Discord server. Anybody can join our Discord server, but you have to be at the Escape Velocity level to get into the Escape Velocity channel. That is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool channel. It's pretty neat. And it comes with things such as seeing all of us on the Tomorrow crew talking to each other. Me and Colton hacking the computers here in Station 204 while Spotify was like, here's the Ocean's 12 soundtrack, and I was like, okay, I'll allow it because it works for what we're doing. So yeah, so you got to see that today. You've seen other things as well, which was pretty good.
Is Alex Shimp Alex Physics's like alter ego?
What's up?
Is Alex Shimp Alex Physics's alter ego?
I assume. I mean, Alex is a Escape Velocity member, but Alex Chimp, I'm not sure. Alex Chimp, you are under our microscope this week. We've also got our orbital members as well. And I just want to, remind you, if you are considering being a member, you can head on over to youtube.com/TMRO/join.
Do it.
And yes, you can do it right now, and you will basically be instantly allowed into our post show, which the only tomorrow members can get into. We've also got suborbital with this here, and I gotta say the some of the names that we've been getting are pretty good in this, like a pattern in the chaos. That's definitely going to be the name of my shoegaze noise rock art band once I finally start that. And then of course our ground support members helping out as well, helping make all of this possible for us here at Tomorrow, and we are unbelievably appreciative. We also got our system support members as well. Doesn't take much to get in and to be a Tomorrow member and to get on to that. So, Juan, Win, thank you so much. Just became a member. That means that you're going to get to see the after show that we're going to have in just a minute, where myself and the amazing Jack Bayer are going to be talking about some very cool things. So Jack, officially, thank you for coming on Tomorrow this evening. It's just super exciting to have you here, and we are. I'm very much looking forward to the fun discussions that we're about to have as we go in.
Yeah, it's a good way to spend a Friday night. Happy to be on, and anytime you guys want me on, just let me know. I'm happy to pop in. Also, this is the part where I tell you you've been saying my name wrong this entire time. It's Bayer.
What? No! Jack!
It's fine. I don't actually care, but I figured I could spring it on you.
I can't say anything right this episode.
I've been waiting to just like smack you over the head with that one and watch your reactions. So there you go, buddy. Just for you.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Well, thanks everybody. He's Jack Bayer. I'm Jared He.
Bayer.
We'll see you later. Have a good one. On to our members stream we go. Bye everybody. Oh my gosh, everybody's like, that's the plot twist of the episode. Yep, that's it.
Oh, M. Night Shyamalan.